So what are we learning out of this pandemic lately? Well, there's a young family in our neighborhood. We regularly see them trudging down the sidewalk. The kids race on ahead. A little guy in a very small bike is out in front. He races up to the corner, but then he waits there for the others to catch up. His sister rides a scooter, and she goes back and forth, covering at least twice as many miles as anybody else. Mom and Dad are bringing up the rear. They're a little older, wiser, probably tireder, but they make this circuit with their sweet family. Seems like every day, at least once a day. While the pandemic has forced so many to stay at home, it has also brought families together at home. Suddenly, our neighbor is full of young families out walking together, and I love to see it. While we're all home, homeschooling has really taken off. It's the rage. Everybody's schooling at home, from kinders to grad school. Some parents are throwing in the towel, or just plain throwing things. But many families are finding out, hey, this homeschooling thing is actually working out okay. And now that I've got to know them again, I kind of like these kids. I think we're going to keep them. That was enough to alert a sociologist at Harvard, who got quite alarmed that children would be under the authority of such ill-equipped people as their parents 24/7. That's scary. The pandemic has reintroduced us in some ways to the basic building block of society. It is not government, it is family. Parents fulfilling their responsibility to nurture, teach, socialize, and even discipline their children. The experts are not sure if parents are up to it, but God says you can, and He has given you some help and some guidance to do it. For instance, the first 9 chapters of the book of Proverbs are a father's guide to teaching his son wisdom, which is skill in living rightly. This is a father and mother's chief role. In fact, in those times, the wisest of counselors to kings and rulers were considered as fathers and mothers. Joseph was called a father to Pharaoh. Deborah was called a mother to Israel. Fathers are to be careful not to provoke their children to anger, not to demand too much to frustrate them, but to bring them up in training and understanding which comes from and centers on God and His wisdom and knowing Him. Children are to honor their father and mother, so that by learning wisdom, skill in living rightly, from them they will experience God's blessing, God's fullness in life. Family is important because family is a way for us to understand something of our relationship with God. The church of believers in Jesus is called the family of God. We are His children. God is our Father, and we are brothers and sisters together. We are to be brothers and helping brothers build spiritual muscle. We are sisters helping sisters to share and care and love. And God calls us to bring others into His family, where they are both born again and adopted, and are in the truest sense God's very own. Yes, family is the foundation of society, even though families are never perfect. Maybe your family has failed you. Maybe you don't know how to do family rightly. Why not come to God's family? Start there by believing God concerning His Son, Jesus, who loved you and gave Himself for you. Learn what it is to be loved by God as your truest Father, and let His love change your family tree. And then, those good folks at Harvard, well, they can concern themselves with many other things that need attention.